All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jim Welsh, and I am here today with Dylan Fisher from McCormick Systems, an estimating software that we offer. Along also here with us is Tom Greco from Foundation Software, our full job cost accounting and project management system. And then me, Jim Welsh, I'll be talking about payroll for construction, which is a standalone payroll service similar to ADP or Paychex, but construction specific. So today's broadcast, unfortunately, for you guys, is just listen only. So if you guys do have questions, if you're new to this, you can type them in. Some of them we may answer right as we move along here. I'll be able to see those and shout them out to Tom and Dylan. Some of them we'll answer at the end, but feel free to type in questions as we go. So what we'll do today here is really just kind of start by introducing estimating. Estimating is where it starts. You're estimating to get awarded jobs. Then upon doing that, jobs awarded, it can go into foundation or payroll for construction, or again, all of these products stand alone. So McCormick works with all other accounting systems as well, where, can push estimates and that type of information in. So I'll let Dylan speak to that. So if you want, Dylan, I'm going to go ahead and start by passing this over to you. Let me change presenter to, this might give it to Tom because you're both sales webinar. Let's see, is that giving it to you, Dylan, or Tom?
Yeah, I got it. So I'm showing my screen now. Let me know if you see it there, Jim.
Yep, we got it. Go ahead, take over.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks for the introduction, Jim, and thank you all for joining. Here at McCormick, we specialize in estimating and takeoff software. We are an all-in-one solution. We do cater more so to the specialty trades such as electrical, plumbing, and mechanical. Today, I'm just going to take you through a brief walkthrough of the estimating takeoff process in McCormick. So we do work through a 5-step process. You'll see these 5 buttons here at the top, labeled 1 through 5. I'm looking at step 1. I'm at the job screen. So this is where we either start a new job or open an existing job folder. This is what the first step of McCormick looks like. This is the job information screen. So we name the job, type in details if we want to, and then we add the digital drawings right to the job folder here. So I do already have some plans attached. We'll go ahead and open up the job. The second step in McCormick is what we call labels. Essentially, this is where we can break the bid down into pieces. This translates to better bid management, better job management. We're able to look at areas of the job, systems. I'm talking material list, man hours, those types of details. Labels is also where we separate out the pricing. So within this job folder, I might have several bids. I might have a base bid, some options. I can come back and do change orders. So that's all we're doing here is labeling. Okay, the third step in McCormick is takeoff. This is really just where we account for material. And I want to talk a little bit about the material. So I am in the electrical database. Again, we also offer a plumbing and mechanical database. Essentially, there's a list of items, and we've got thousands and thousands of items in here. And we've got a list of assemblies. So an item is a single piece of material. If I was to select this wire here and review it for you, you'll see that the material has a lot of information built into it. So every item in the database has built-in material pricing and built-in labor hours. In fact, we have multiple levels. This is 4 levels of material cost and then 6 levels of labor. If you're a union contractor in the electrical field, you'll probably recognize these. These are the published NECA levels here. Okay, an assembly is just a group of items we can account for at the same time. We use a menu to drive the database. We start with the general category here, and then as we work through the columns, it narrows down the search. I want a device, standard grade, receptacle. Here's my list. Again, these are all assemblies. I want the 20 amp. If I were to open up the side window on an assembly, it shows the list of items. So I just reviewed an item for you. Each one of these items has material pricing, labor hours built into it. This is just going to allow me to account for many items at the same time. So we do have the ability to do what's called manual entry takeoff. That's where we just key in a number on our keyboard and hit enter. I typed in 10. We call that manual entry takeoff. So if you didn't have a digital plan for some reason, that's one way to do it. Now, again, I have some plans attached to this job. I'm gonna launch the Pro. And this is where I can select one of my digital plans. I'll select the first one here. I'll set a quick scale on it. The plan came with the scale of 1/8 = 1. And now, again, since we are an all-in-one estimating and takeoff solution, I am picking parts from my estimating program and then clicking on the plan. I've got the standard grade duplex assembly selected in the estimating program. In the bottom left-hand corner, it shows that is active on the drawing. So the basics are point and click. With each click, I'm leaving this mark behind. That mark represents, each one of those blue circles represents all these parts. So I'm getting all the material I need for each of these outlets with each click. And again, material pricing, labor hours, that's all built in. So if it's marked on the plan, it's estimated. You'll see that the count is coming right from the plan, 5 of them. So that's basic counting. I'll show you a linear takeoff as well. It's just as easy. We just essentially draw lines. So here I've got a branch assembly. Again, it's everything I need to install a pipe and wire run. So I'm selecting in the database, you know, the size of the pipe, the amount of wires I'm running, and then I'm going to let McCormick do the rest. So there's a single line setting where we click once to start, once to end. And then there's a connected line setting where we can change directions. But again, these lines represent the assembly I selected from the McCormick estimating database, and then counts and measurements are being recorded for me. So that's on-screen takeoff on a very, very basic level. On-screen takeoff comes with a ton of features to speed up the process. We've got auto count where we can scan the image and find symbols for you. We've got a patented auto home run feature, you know, where we can automatically draw the home runs for you. We've got design build capabilities. We can compare plans. So that part of the program is loaded. For now, I'm just gonna move on. Again, just giving you a quick overview of the 5-step process in McCormick. So after step 3 takeoff, we're moving on to extension. And essentially, we're just extending our quantities, our material, by one of those built-in material pricing levels and labor levels that we just talked about. So this is the result. This is all the material we need for the job. We spit out an itemized material list, showing, you know, this is the description of the material, the quantity, and then again, we're extending by a price and a labor. You know, maybe instead of the competitive bid labor for this job, I want to use NECA 1. So it's just a drop down to choose a different report or a different combination of price and labor. I'll also mention that we have many ways to manage material pricing in McCormick. We work with all the major pricing services. We can upload supplier pricing into the system. So lots of different ways to manage that. Essentially here, I'm making sure all the material looks good, quantities, material cost, hours, and then I'm pushing these totals to the 5th and final step. So this is my total material cost, my total hours for my base bid. I'm gonna go ahead and hit send to summary. So this is where we wrap things up in McCormick, step 5. I've sent over the base bid, my total material cost, and my total hours. And now I'm just gonna work through these folders down at the bottom to update these job cost totals. Okay, so right now we've got material cost, and again, we've got hours. Here in the labor folder, this is where I'm going to assign my rates to the hours. Now on the left side, this is my example list of rates. This is my Phoenix Inside group. This is something you set up in the system for yourself. You can get as detailed as you want in terms of setting up different groups. Again, I've got an inside group, an outside group. You can also get very detailed in terms of setting up burden, all your different percentages and dollar amounts, burden levels. So you get as detailed as you want in terms of setting up your labor rates. Job to job, the estimator is just picking the rates from the left side, pushing them to the right, and then assigning hours here or a percentage of the hours here. I'll do percentage, 50% of the hours to the foreman rate, 50% of the hours to the journeyman rate. On the right side, we show the total labor cost for each rate and the hours assigned to it. And then on the bottom right, that's the total labor cost for the job. That will populate automatically here on the top sheet. Okay, now the rest of the folders are just punch-ins. We have a folder here to insert quoted material dollars, things like fixtures. I got my fixture quote back, it's 5,000. Again, as I work through these folders, everything is going to, all the totals are going to populate here automatically. There's a folder to account for subcontractor expenses. I'm summing out some saw cuts, direct job expenses, things like permits and fees. There's an equipment cost folder here. I need a lift on this job, $295 a day for my lift. I'm gonna need it for 4 days. We've got a folder here to set up a bond table. This is my bond table back on the top sheet. If I want to use it, it's just a checkbox. McCormick will figure out the bond for me based on my table here. The last folder is my tax folder. Of course, you'd have your tax rate here. I've got mine on the materials and quotes. And then again, coming back to the top sheet, I've got all of my job expenses covered and everything is totaled up on the right. So here's the raw cost, the tax, the raw cost with tax. Overhead and profit totals will populate here. We do allow you to mark up each category individually. For example, I want 10% overhead on the material and 12% profit on top of that. I could mark up labor completely different if I choose to do so. I'll just blanket the whole job with the same amount, 10% overhead on all categories and 12% profit on all categories. And then again, everything's totaled up on the right. Here's the total overhead. Here's the total profit. Here's the overhead and profit combined. Total return percent. Here's the price. The bond's at 0. This is the sell price without bond. Again, I showed you the bond table. To use it or apply it, it's just a checkbox here. So that would be the sell price with bond. That's pretty much it. Of course, we've got a lot of information to come back to in terms of reviewing and making changes and that sort of thing. We do generate an automatic proposal here at the end. We have some really neat reports. And last but not least, this is where we push our information, our bid information from McCormick to Foundation. And with that, I will pass it back to you, Jim.
Thanks, Dylan. Good stuff there. Appreciate it. Okay, I am going to hand this over now to Tom Greco. So let me change this. Okay. Tom, let me know if you got that notification to share. Perfect.
Yes, sir.
We got it.
Excellent. And thank you, Dylan, for going through the McCormick side. Great product. Definitely some details in there where, obviously building the estimate is very important when we talk about, the start of a project and as jobs are awarded, then how they carry over to, I guess, the accounting and job costing side. So just transitioning into Foundation software, the job cost accounting program designed to replace, your current solution, whether you're using something off the shelf like QuickBooks or something that maybe isn't as robust or isn't integrated as you'd like it to be. As you can see on my screen here, we have a ton of modules, and I'll definitely touch on some of them and go through, especially the union payroll side, as we probably do have plenty of union contractors on today's webinar. So I wanted to talk about how we can make your life a lot easier when it comes to multiple pay rates, multiple unions, certified payroll, and that type of stuff. But as you see the main menu of Foundation, we always start people off with these base modules up top here. So it is truly designed to replace your current accounting solution, whether we're doing accounts payable invoices, AIAs, and the general ledger, obviously being able to do your financial reporting, journal entries, bank reconciliations. Within our job costing module, it's definitely integrated where, as we do accounting functions in the system, whether we're talking payroll going out the door or creating a billing, all that stuff is going to automatically update job costing from one point of entry. So it provides you with a lot more of a real-time job costing solution than something that You might be doing accounting in system A and reporting in Excel or reporting in another system. We want to bring everything all under one roof, where as things are happening on the accounting side, people are able to see their job costs real time. Now, payroll is something that we definitely want to talk about. This is a system that's really truly built from day one, 1985, for the union contractor. So union payroll is going to be one of our specialties, alongside with certified payroll, but really the true roots of foundation is this system was originally created way back in 1985 for a union contractor. And that union contractor dealt with a lot of complexity, with multiple states, multiple local payroll taxes, multiple unions. So it's definitely a solution from back then to today that's designed to accommodate union contractors and their complex needs of calculating pay rates, calculating fringes, and we'll talk a lot about that too. Purchase orders and subcontracts is something that a lot of off-the-shelf systems struggle to do, and it does have some carryover from what Dylan talked about on the McCormick side. So when we're talking about, purchase orders, inventory, tracking, job lists or material lists, there is some nice integration between the two systems so that as jobs are awarded, we're able to import those jobs into Foundation. As material lists need to be populated based on the budget from McCormick, all that information is easily imported into Foundation as well. And then obviously we can track the inventory in, the inventory out, as well as heavy equipment, equipment usage, equipment service, depreciation. We do a really good job too of also separating jobs and job costing. And for those that are on today's webinar that do service work, we don't want to smash that all together into one system. We want to keep them nice, clean, and separate. We obviously have mobile products that integrate with both ends. Time and material billing is something that we do as well, loosely coupled with service dispatch, but then also can be done on a contract job, let's say a change order or something like that. We need an ability to mark up that labor, mark up those materials, and then produce a nice itemized invoice is something that our T&M module can do, as well as unit price-based AIAs, document imaging, and full job cost reporting. We will touch on the job cost reports, but I want to really dive into the union payroll side and talk about why Foundation is an excellent solution for those that are union contractors that may struggle with, having to calculate those multiple union rates or those multiple pay rates in the same week or certified payroll. I always tell people a lot of that complexity always deals with the job that we need to work on. That job might be in a different region. That job might be a government job or Davis-Bacon. That job might be in a different state or a different county. So instead of doing all that stuff manually, which you might be doing now, let's find a system that's going to save us a ton of time and do it for you, as opposed to doing it in Excel or having to do it on a spreadsheet or hand calculate things. With the system itself, it is an integrated accounting solution from a job cost side, and everything really stems from, being able to create a job in the system and track that job, as well as, being able to import that budget from McCormick so that we can then track estimate versus actual parts. What do we have left to order? All that stuff stems around this job right here. Obviously on the job, we can also load some other information as it relates to billing, tracking jobs by project manager, by region. So if you do work in multiple states and you want to run a report that isolates that specific state to see if it's something you want to continue to do, very easy to create also user-defined sorting options on top of the ones that are currently provided. Multi-state payroll is something that we handle extremely well, both from the accounting software as well as payroll for construction, which Jim will talk about. I'm able to create this job and attach the actual state class or the state and local class so that if I have a guy working in multiple states in the same week, nothing I have to do other than attach the tax table to the job, and then that will go ahead and populate the multi-state payroll for you. Same thing with certified payroll. We have a ton of electronic certified payroll formats, as well as all the paper copies that are pretty much in existence right now. So instead of doing those manually, once again, let's just let the system create those certified payroll reports for you once payroll goes out the door. Same thing with tracking retainage. So, if you're using something like QuickBooks, as we all know, tracking retainage is nearly impossible or a lot of work or a ton of workarounds. We want to Save you time there too, where then as we build this job, let's have that retainage calculate for us. And then as it relates to union payroll and multiple unions, with union payroll, if you don't work in multiple unions, you are able to create an employee record in here and attach that union and trade to that employee. And it'll go ahead and calculate the pay rates. It'll calculate all the fringes for you. But if we do have companies on today's webinar that deal with that multi-union payroll setup or multi-jurisdiction, the job has a nice place where I can go onto it and define my home union, which would be local 127. And because this job is in a different region, county, state, they need to report to a different union. And then we can also control what I call who gets what, meaning does the whole package go back to local 38? Did just the dues go to local 38 and the rest goes to 127? Or we can even define specifically what needs to go to local 38 versus what needs to go to local 127. So we're able to set these rules up at the job level. And as individuals are coding their time, whether it be through our mobile app or through a manual time card entry, we're able to accommodate having to calculate the different complexities when it comes to union payroll. In addition to, being able to do the multiple union payroll, all your union reports, your certified payroll will all come out of Foundation. So as payroll goes out the door, when it comes time to prepare my certifieds, I don't really have to do this manually anymore. As time is coded, as long as individuals are selecting the right job number, it's going to do all the work for us. It's going to do all the pay rates. It's going to do all the fringe calculations. And I should be able to produce these with just putting a date range in and running the reports and having them be 100% completed. Also within payroll, when it comes time to producing your 1094, 1095s, or vacation tracking, or your quarterly reports, or having to do any type of union reports, those are going to be done directly out of Foundation as well. So instead of having to do these in spreadsheets or once again, break out your calculator, hand calculate everything, as we implement the system, we're very big on hands-on implementations. And it's big for us to sit down with you and map these unions out, put in all the correct pay rates, all the correct trades, all the correct due rates, health and welfare, so that when it comes time to produce your union reports, these are things that I can just once again put a date range in, run. They're accurate, they're up to date, they're ready to go. In addition to the paper copy union reports, something that we've been seeing a lot of is a lot of unions, whether it be through NECA or various other unions, they're all starting to do electronic filing of union benefits, and that's through EPR Live. We have that pre-programmed in here so that Foundation can actually create an export file with the correct data in the correct areas so that you can upload that to EPR Live. Also, too, being able to do work in progress as it relates to just the company as a whole is something that I should be able to do real time, whether it be by quarter, by month, by year. So union reports on top of that, as well as over-under billing, is something that I should be able to do. It can also create the journal entry for any accounting functions. So this is also going to be a huge time saver for those that have to do this through Excel or do it manually. The system would then save you a ton of time and produce the report for you. Where I'm going to wrap up before I head over and hand it over to Jim is going to be job cost reporting. So being able to have an integrated solution where I can come in, whether it be once a day, twice a day, and be able to see all my jobs in one area, what % complete I am, how far along the job is going to be the executive dashboard. We include that with every sale. It is a nice integrated reporting tool that I'm able to go in and drill into specific jobs. And from a reporting standpoint, I can sum up every area of the job within one area, so I don't have to pull 10 different reports to get the information that I need. If I want to see every invoice that's gone out the door, whether it's an AIA, a time and material invoice, I can easily click on that billing detail and drill into all of that. Same thing with change orders. committed cost. So for those that track subcontracts and want to see exactly what's out there, what do we invoice to date, what's still left there, it's all going to be right in front of you. Probably the most popular area is going to be the job cost detail. So now, instead of having to do this in Excel, with the use of McCormick or with the use of entering in budgets in the foundation, I can now track estimate versus actual real time. So I'm able to have specific budgets on specific jobs, have an estimated cost to that specific line item, and then as cost is entered into the accounting side, I can see the estimate, the actual, was still left over. If we have anybody on the call today that looks to track quantities and production, also something that Foundation excels at. I can also drill into any cost code and get that next layer underneath it. So it's very big not only for us to track the union payroll and the labor side and all the payroll burden, but then also track all the other types of costs, whether it be material invoices, subcontractor costs, equipment. And we're always able to get you to the furthest level of detail. So if I have a question about the labor side and I want to drill into that cost code and see all the time cards from payroll, this is where you truly see the accounting side integrated with job costing. Here's every time card that was coded to that job within that time frame, who worked there, how many hours, and what was the cost. I can do that with material cost too, where I'm able to drill all the way into the accounts payable invoice, and I can drill into a copy of that invoice to see exactly what makes up that cost. So I do want to touch on the union payroll side, the multi-union payroll, some other highlights of the system as it relates to job costing reports. And I'm going to turn it over to Jim, and Jim will talk about payroll for construction.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. All right, Tom stole a lot of my thunder here. There's a little bit of crossover, but what I'm going to do here is let me just quickly share my side of it. And then you got my screen, Tom?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay. So payroll for construction. So payroll for construction is actually powered by a lot of the pieces Tom showed you. Really, we'll go into that here in a second. But what we did is we decided, hey, there's a market out there for contractors that want to outsource payroll. Some of them want to move ERP systems and come to our full ERP system. However, some contractors are, they're heavily invested and tied to their accounting system, and they're not looking to change that. So over the course of 36 years of doing this, about 15 years ago, the ownership decided, hey, we can take that part of the payroll and be more of like an ADP or Paychex, where, a lot of contractors can't outsource payroll because these companies don't understand the union calculations, the complexity of multi-union, multi-state, certified payroll, all the compliance tracking and reporting that comes with it. It's great that any service out there, just like us, can pay your employees via check or direct deposit, pay those city, state, federal, quarterly taxes, unemployment, your W-2s, the 1095 stuff we can handle. And the reality is just any service out there can handle that. So that's not what makes us different or why we call ourselves payroll for construction. The real reason is because we carve that piece of foundation out, and you will actually see that here in a second. So we can handle payroll in all 50 states. So like Tom was saying, whether you're working in one state or across the entire country, doesn't matter if they work in multiple states in a given day or week, we can handle all the tax compliance, all the, keeping up with the ever-changing laws of taxes, and make sure that we handle that stuff on your behalf. And again, what we look for are union, government, prevailing wage contractors. The messiest, most complex payroll out there is what we do a great job with. Because after you have your payroll in, whether it's to your service or accounting system, even after the employees and taxes are paid, again, there's all of that compliance reporting that comes with it. So you're going to see a real familiar screen here. Now, we don't even rebrand it. So what I try here to do is to make sure there's no confusion. You could run McCormick with any ERP system out there. Foundation doesn't even need to be involved. Obviously, they work really well together. You could run Foundation and do your payroll internally, or in fact, you could use a different service if you so chose. So we're willing to really work with our clients to not just have them on everything. In a perfect world, that'd be great. But if you want to use one of these products along with something else, we'll make that work as well. So that's where payroll for construction can actually stand on its own, can integrate with QuickBooks or other ERP systems where the payroll's coming into our system via, somebody could just enter payroll, or what they could do is use like a mobile app. We integrate with a lot of them out there. So if you have one, they can export it and import the time to us. Or we even have our own mobile app on the foundation side and the payroll for construction side. So getting time in here and being able to check that out. I'm just going to show some of the things that even Tom kind of showed how we set that stuff up behind scenes. But what you'll see here is whether this was entered or it came over, the ability for the system to recognize the changes in unions, what rates change, and divvying those fringes and deductions to the correct union reports for you to be able to submit off for payment. Also, you can see whether there's city taxes by job, or just pretend this job's New York and this job is Ohio. That automation, by being able to control that and set that up on the job, saves people a lot of time on the front end. So what we're really doing is we're saying, hey, we can actually set up your unions. You can put your jobs in, control those different jurisdictions, and we can build rate and fringe tables. So what's nice about these as well is the ability for a couple of things. The more employees you have, okay, the more time consuming it is when the unions change the rates. So if you had 20 journeyman electrician out of local 38 and the rates today were changing to 30 an hour, you wouldn't have to go touch 30 employee records. We could update the master table, and then it updates everybody in one fell swoop. So, people oftentimes come to us here at Payroll for Construction and even Foundation for the back end, the output of reporting, the level of detail. But really up front, the ability for us to track this, set it up for you, manage it as that changes, and then even this effective date's nice because even if we found out today, the rates are actually changing to on July 1st to, let's say they're going up by whatever. Well, if we change that today, set the effective date July 1st, that week when payroll's being input or uploading from the mobile app, even if Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are the 28th, 29th, and 30th of June, and Thursday is the 1st of July, it'll automate that midweek. And it will also, for visibility, because that's key when you're dealing with union employees, unions, government agencies for certified payroll. You can't take shortcuts that hide the visibility of you being compliant. So it'll timestamp that change midweek on the employee's paycheck. It'll timestamp it on your union and your certified reports. So even though we're saving you a lot of time at the beginning, middle, and end of payroll, you're not going to have to deal with, audits and stuff due to lack of visibility. So maintaining also the fringe tables too. This is where even QuickBooks, a lot of these systems out there will struggle with understanding what a deduction versus fringe is. This goes back to what Tom said, fringes. That's a part of job costing. If it's not on your job labor or your costing reports, you're not getting the full picture. What these are called, we customize this to each client, each union, how they calculate, what they calculate at, how they're taxed, and again, being able to roll them over or put limits in place. So like Tom said, 1985, we haven't tried to, in the midst of being a company, we haven't had to try to morph this to union clients. This is what it was built for. Have we added to it? Have we done those things like Tom said, a lot of certified payroll? It's not just that WH-347. There's so many state-specific formats. There's these websites nowadays that you got to be able to go to upload this information. So we continue to enhance this stuff and put things in because the only types of contractors we work with are union, government, prevailing wage contractors. So with that being said, got some questions coming over. I'm going to go ahead and recap real quick. So again, foundation, full job cost accounting and project management system built just for contractors, standing on its own. Payroll for construction can be used in conjunction as a payroll service with QuickBooks or any other accounting system out there. McCormick as well, estimating package that you can use with whatever accounting system you choose. And then all three of our products are accessible online. So especially in today's world, being able to work from home or work on the go, or, when you're not in town, you'll be able to access all of this information from any computer with internet access. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to go ahead and open it up to type in questions here. Somebody's asking, can we have the work dates post on the work dates instead of the employee's wages showing expense dates of the payroll? Yes, you can do work weeks, pay dates. You have multiple options with what reflects there. The stubs will actually have the ability to show at the bottom the jobs they worked on, the dates they worked, how many hours they had those days. So you will have a posting/check date, but you can also show those dates that they actually physically were on those jobs, and not only what jobs they were on and what days, but what they specifically did if you go to that level of detail. Somebody's also asking about layoff, payoff checks and corrections. So yeah, I mean, especially outsourcing payroll, if you have Foundation's accounting system, you can do a check at any time. When you outsource payroll, there are some time frames that we're very flexible on, that we need payroll by a set date and time. We process, you have the checks there the next day. But with union payroll, if you term somebody, lay them off, you may have to produce a check immediately. And we're one of the few services that, because we're powered by an accounting system, we can give you that ability to go ahead and print a check anytime on your end. Okay. Tom, any popping up on your end for you, or?
Yeah, one was, we touched on AIA billings. Does your system produce the 702, 703 format? Yes, the system will actually produce the AIA document that looks just like the red ink copy of it. That comes right out of Foundation. You will not have to do that in Excel. It also auto posts to accounts receivable, so it could log the revenue, calculate the retainage, update the general ledger, update job costing, update everything.
Perfect. Thank you, Tom. Someone in here asked another question that I'm going to answer via email. That way I want to read it over, make sure that we're on the same page, and I'll shoot you an email. I jotted down your email there, Angie. So I'll make sure I respond correctly to that for you here. So anything else you want to add, Dylan, before we let everybody go here today?
No, thanks, Jim. I think we're good here. Again, happy to provide a full online demonstration if we have any plumbing, mechanical, electrical contractors viewing today. Certainly encourage you to have a closer look at it. Let us take you through the full system and show you what we can do.
Absolutely, and Dylan, that's a perfect point. None of us here expect you to see the small little bits of information just in this and make a decision. We do a very good job of doing these demonstrations. We know you want to be thorough. We want to be thorough, make sure this is the right fit. So you can reach out to any one of us there, and, we can get you in the right direction, set you up with a demo. And the last thing I'll leave you with is, we do have a safety product here that we now have, that if anybody's looking for safety tracking software and stuff like that, feel free to reach out to myself, Jim Welsh. I could point you over to the person on our end who can show you some more stuff on that. So again, everybody, thank you so much for your time today. We hope to hear from some of you soon, and have a great day.